Scripture today is from Matthew, the 10th chapter. Jesus' words, "Whoever welcomes you welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet in the name of a prophet will receive a prophet's reward, and whoever welcomes a righteous person in the name of a righteous person will receive the reward of the righteous. And whoever gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones in the name of the disciple, truly I tell you, none of these will lose their reward." At the end of the Civil War, a Union soldier from Pennsylvania had been released from a prison camp in Andersonville, Georgia, and he had written a letter to his girlfriend that said, "I'm coming home on the stagecoach, but if you don't want me to stay, I understand. Maybe you found somebody else in the 3 years I've been gone. But if you do want me to stay, tie a yellow handkerchief around that oak tree at the edge of town, and I'll get off the stage." Well, this story was in the Reader's Digest in the early 70s, and a songwriter in New York saw it and thought, this has some possibilities. So he wrote a song and took it to a music publisher who told him, "This is just terrible." And he said, "Get out of here." So he went to another music publisher and said, "Hey, I think you got a hit on your hands." And so Tony Orlando and Don were the first to record "Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Oak Tree." And then everybody except the Stones recorded it within a year. I mean, it's an international hit. It's kind of a great song. It ends with the story. Now it's a prisoner coming home from prison after 3 years in prison. He's on a bus, and he said, "Now the whole darn bus is cheering, and I can't believe I see 100 yellow ribbons around the old oak tree. I'm coming home." Gosh, we all like to be welcomed, and maybe that's one of the reasons the song was so popular. Scripture is kind of obvious that Jesus wants us to welcome. He mentions how we need to be able to give cold water to a thirsty person. And of course, that cup of cold water represents 1,000 things that you might do to somebody in need. Jesus also talks about the prophets, how you need to welcome the prophets. But Jesus, grew up in a culture, they had the stories of the Old Testament prophets. Most of them weren't very welcome because their message was, shape up or something awful is going to happen. Or that was the best one. The other one was, it's too late to shape up, something awful is going to happen. And the prophets who we record as the great ones usually had bad news. And Jesus encouraged us to listen to the reality of that. But there's a kind of deeper meaning in that scripture, is that it's about receiving welcome in Jesus' name. Jesus has sent out his disciples earlier in this chapter. He told them, go out, proclaim the good news, heal the sick, don't take anything extra with you. Just the clothes on your back. And to just depend on the goodness of other people to make sure you get through. His reputation was kind of at stake here. And he warned them that not everyone is going to want you. But he promised them that those who welcome you welcome me, and those who welcome me welcome the one who sent me, and they shall be rewarded. So welcome is kind of a two-way street. Did you ever feel a connection of God through another person? Somebody helped you connect to God? Have you been that person that's helped somebody else connect to God? I have had come to church and they hear stories of Jesus, and Jesus wore a robe, and the preacher wears a robe, and so they want to know if that's Jesus. I tell you what, being Jesus is a big responsibility. You know, you kind of are careful of what you say and do, especially around those little children. If Jesus' reputation is at stake, I want to be welcoming all of them. Years ago, I was helping him with the pre-Thanksgiving food distribution. We had gotten names at the church from a community agency about families that needed some help at Thanksgiving, and so we collected food. I took a box out one Tuesday afternoon. It was kind of late. I know there was a house in Queensboro. I was by myself. Three little children came to the door right away, and Mom came and let me in. And the house was clean, but there was just not very much furniture. And I could see into the kitchen, and there was nothing on the counters. And one of the kids said, "Oh boy, food!" And I was putting down the box of food, and I guess the littlest child kind of whispered to his brother, "Is that Jesus?" Well, I guess I represented Jesus for a minute, but I am so not Jesus. Because I never went back to that house to see if they really needed help in the future. I guess I could say, well, you know, I'm not a social worker, or I have my own parishioners to look after, or I don't want to be seen as a stalker. But I kind of had the feeling that Jesus would have gone back to check on them, or at least sent a disciple of his to check on them. Welcome is a wonderful word, and it's like a coin that has two sides. Those who welcome and those who are received with welcome. And we are both sides of that coin. We have been welcomed by God by uniting our lives in Christ. And we are given the task of welcoming a word of need in Jesus' name. When Jesus commissioned his disciples to ministry, that got passed on through the years, so all of us are commissioned to ministry. And I know Jesus took a risk to do that, but he took the risk that we could discover the soul-changing power of welcoming others to life.